Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to L3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful land of enchantment. And today's date is Tuesday, April 15th, 2020. Hopefully I got that correct. Yeah, I do have that. No, it's Wednesday. Sorry about that. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right? And, of course, people are going to be paying tribute on what happened to the horrific event that happened at Boston, the Boston bombing, which is very disturbing indeed, but there's still some unanswered questions to a lot of people out there, including the solutions of having police raiding citizens' homes, persons' homes, including mothers with their children, guns pointing at them, and going in their homes without warrants. Still totally unacceptable. And the funny thing about it, and I say that ironically, was actually a neighbor in the area found one of the suspects bleeding. So the whole Keystone Cops, guns blazing, jackbooting mentality failed. That is tyranny for sure. And to be very frank, I like Dropkick Murphys, but after the whole Boston bombing, when they used that song, "Ship Me Back to Boston," I hated it after that. It was like blasphemy. And out of love, too. Because when you got to support a police state, and you got a bunch of folks out there saying Boston strong, I'm sorry, I don't see that at all. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of awesome people that live in that city. Beautiful people in Boston. Doesn't matter what ethnic background they are. There's some good folks out there have questioned this as well. And I've been hearing the interviews, phone call conversations from people. There's a lot of people in Boston were disturbed on that outcome of the police state tactics. It's completely unacceptable. It's what happens when they believe we're the government, we're here to help. Instead of calling the alarm for the citizens, hey, this was happening, we need your assistance. Instead of going through people's homes, doing unconstitutional practices, not just in the U.S., but their own commonwealths. So, enough of that. I was going to talk about something interesting that came out in the Miami Herald today. Yeah, it came out in the Miami Herald today. And this one here, which is called BSO, Deputy Union has had enough of sheriff, letter says. Vote no confidence to be held. This is by Devon Kitelt. Excuse me. Hopefully I've pronounced his name correctly. It says here, after Broward Sheriff Gregory Tony suspended the president of his deputies union on Friday, okay, good. I'll do it again. It's got a little. I'm on my phone right now. So after the Broward Sheriff Gregory Tony suspended the president of his deputies union on Friday, the union has launched a no-confidence vote against the sheriff. On Tuesday, members of the Broward Sheriff's Deputy Association began casting ballots on a no-confidence measure. They will have until Monday to vote. The result of the vote will be announced April 20th. The union members has received a letter from the union outlining that it says were a series of missteps by Tony, whom Governor Ron DeSantis appointed in January 2019. After suspending the previous sheriff, Scott Israel, a Democrat, and the BSO came under fire for how the BSO responded to the shooting on the massacre on Valentine's Day 2018 in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, which killed 17 students and left 17 students and faculty members dead. And don't forget the one at the airport too, folks, because he did that. Ron DeSantis did that under executive order. And you could look it up. I did a past show on that. I think it's called "Welcome to Blowback." Scott Sheriff Israel. In the Monday letter, the union accused of Tony lying on his original job application to the Coral Springs Police Department, fabricating holding the rank of the commander of Coral Springs, and firing BSO deputies without due process. The union will continue to be a vocal against our sheriff, who seems to think think posting Instagram photos of himself working out, photo ops, and censoring critics on social media by deleting their comments is more important than protecting his employees, the letter says. The letter also suggested Tony's suspension of the union president Jeff Bell from the sheriff's office was illegal. On Friday, BSO suspended Bell with pay and accused him of corrupt practices, conduct unbecoming an employee, and violations of policy on truthfulness, employee statements, and discretion. The dispute, which has been brewing for months, came to a head within the last 2 weeks when Bell wrote a letter to the subsequent column in the South Florida Sun-Sentinel decrying what he said was a failure by BSO not to secure enough personal protection equipment or PPE for his deputies. A 39-year-old BSO deputy, Shannon Bennett, died from COVID-19 for the first South Florida law enforcement officer to lose his life to the deadly infection caused by the novel coronavirus. It's interesting, too, because some of these people may have preconditions as well, because I know, if I'm correct, I could be mistaken, if I'm correct, I think Shannon Bennett may have asthma. I might have to verify that, so I'm not here to jump the gun. I just read it today, and interesting about that is they were actually, a lot of these people had preconditions, so we'll just leave it at that. But regardless, Tony, in a fiery news conference last week, detailed all the steps that the BSO has taken to protect his workers, including buying since beginning of February 25,263 N95 masks, 400,773 surgical masks, and 4,109 sanitizers that can be refilled. I have to take 20 minutes of my time to rectify gross response to this community, the sheriff said. Before listing all items BSO has purchased for deputies, it's despicable. Bell's attorney, Aaron Schwartzreich, said Friday night that Bell's suspension violated several laws and added Bell was doing his job by voicing complaints heard by the union. Yeah, if I'm correct, that would be under what's that? What was it, for chapter 44, 44.7? Yeah, I think it's chapter 44.7. It's mainly under PERC too, the Public Employees Relations Committee. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just winging this as we speak. So it says here that is chilling and scary, Schwartzreich said. No one in a particular union president should be suspended for voicing concerns that deputies don't have protective gear they need in this climate to keep themselves safe and the community safe. Over the weekend, the Florida State Lodge Fraternal Order of Police President Robert Jenkins criticized Tony's suspension of Bell, saying the FOP rejects the actions taken by the sheriff of Broward County and his attack on a local union president, simply for exercising his right under the United States Constitution to voice his concerns over the supply of such equipment to his members. You can use the Florida Constitution as well, Article 1, Section 4. Okay? So if I'm correct, I could be, like I say, I'm just being observant here, because I am a member of a union. I'm a member of the union stagehand union. So I'm pretty familiar with these laws. And something like this, in Article 1, Section 4 of the Florida Constitution about free speech, the only way Sheriff Tony could get him is not to suspend him, but sue him in court for libel, and he has to prove his case. So those are areas that you can look at. You can look at that. So many see the skirmish between Tony and the union as part of the bigger political campaign involving the upcoming Broward Sheriff's election. Israel has fought unsuccessfully to be reinstated as Broward Sheriff and is running against Tony in the August Democratic primary to try to get his former job back. The election is Tony's first re-election bid, as he was appointed by the governor. And one of the areas you got to start looking at is, I see here, is just the fact is, based on what I read here, Sheriff Tony was in the wrong. You can't suspend a a president or union president for criticizing you. All right, criticize on your actions. So those are the areas, and based on this also is Sheriff Tony may have breached his oath of office under Article 2, Section 5 of the Florida Constitution, which he has to protect, defend, and faithfully execute the U.S. and Florida Constitution. All right. So, and even too, can this be a breach of contract? It's possible. People have to do a FOIA request on that. If people in Broward County should really look at that contract. And I can say this too, that Mr. Bell, I heard a show was pertaining to the debate in Lauderhill, which got canceled due to COVID-19. Had an honorable discussion about this, and he's not blaming DeSantis and like that. He was constructively criticizing some of the sheriff's actions. So remember, they're claims, okay? And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not going to go around saying he's a liar and all that. Because look, he did the same thing. He motivated the whole thing with the vote of confidence with Scott Israel, and he made a statement about Scott Israel is a good police officer and a good sheriff in the beginning, but in due time, he just had too many bad advisors. The Sheriff Tony is in that same boat. It's possible too. And I have to say this: I did wrote a letter, okay, to Sheriff Tony in reference to Roger Stone when the FBI went in an amphibious move to raid his house and get him arrested. So the question I have for Sheriff Tony: did you approve this matter or these decision by the FBI? Because if you're hiding something, that means you just let it go. All I want is transparency, because the bottom line is this: Sheriff Tony, you are an elected servant. Period. No exceptions. Because you're appointed by a governor doesn't mean you got to take that thing for granted. Because you are the most powerful elected servant in Broward County. Plain and simple. And when I gave that information on your constitutional duties, 10th Amendment obligations, I didn't get a response. So you know what? I'm calling you out too. I'm not here to condemn you. I haven't even met you. But I'm looking at this as a human element. You stick to your principles. That includes everyone else. And plus, that means the residents of Broward County as well. So you better make that decision. This is an election year. So if you're going to make an excuse, they're doing a vote of no confidence vote against you because it's an election year, that's a cop-out, an alibi, and a poor excuse. So I recommend, Sheriff Tony, you go by the book, because you're not above anyone, regardless of your party. It's all ethics. That's it. All right, my friends, that's what I want to make this one brief. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, if you send something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. I shall leave this on the footnote of this article on my Spreaker page, and plus, I do have a PayPal account. I'll leave it on there. You could, if you want to send me some donations or love, paypal.me/LokiLuck3. That will be on my Spreaker page as well. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.